Hi everyone! Okay, so Netflix released season 3 of Squid Game slightly more than a week ago. Have you guys watched it? So actually I worked with American Teresa for their collaboration with Netflix Squid Game a month ago, and in this reel I would like to share what the brief was, my approach of solving the brief, and how I used artificial intelligence, more specifically ChatGPT and Photoshop to help me achieve the ideas I had. So, what was the brief? American Teresa collaborated with Netflix Squid Game to come up with a line of merchandise, more specifically a neck pillow, crossbody bags, tote bags, backpacks and luggages to commemorate this hit series ahead of their world premiere on June 27. Now we were asked to design 3 to 4 kinds of office workers, each reflecting a different Squid Game character archetype, and their followers can respond to this fun little personality test by picking the office worker they resonate the most with, and at the end of the campaign, one winner will be randomly picked to walk away with a line of merchandise. So for this brief, the client actually gave an example. For example, maybe player 001 can be veteran or the title holder. Player 199 can be the workplace underdog or the newbie, and player 456 can be the free spirit or the digital nomad, and player 101 can be the fierce competitor or the workplace ace. Now all these are just examples from the clients, and as agencies, it is in our responsibility to think, consider, counter propose where appropriate, and act in the best interest of our client. So you realize that up until this point, as the examples given by the client were mainly characters from season 1, but at that point Netflix already released 2 seasons of Squid Game, and I wanted to consider the story plot up to season 2. So when I first mulled over the brief, I had 3 criteria. First, the characters must resonate with the plot up until season 2, and the category of office workers that I proposed must be very relatable and relevant. Second, the product must integrate seamlessly into the scene without feeling forced. And thirdly, the concept should certainly highlight how American Teresa's products can enhance the travel experience, aka to soft sell. So the first concept I came up with was actually player 456 Song Ki-hyun as the veteran. Now he famously emerged victorious in season 1, returned in season 2, and at that point was slated to return in season 3. To me, this makes him the ultimate veteran, someone who has faced all kinds of challenges and survived. Drawing inspiration from his journey, this concept positions player 456 as a seasoned player who knows how to survive high-stakes situations. And for product pairing, I felt that the neck pillow would be a suitable product to pair with this concept. And where would you see the neck pillow most commonly used? On the plane. So you can see that here, I fed this concept into ChatGPT. Now when it came to art directing the graphics, I knew that I wanted aircraft window by the side so that people can see that it is a red-eye flight, because I wanted to tie in the corporate grind of maybe having red eyes from staying up to rush proposals. And you can see that ChatGPT actually generated some examples where it had the character maybe looking slightly smiley or maybe even a little bit goofy. So player 456 Song Ki-hyun in the series, he had undergone a lot of things and he would have a lot of turmoil inside him, so there was no way that he would be smiling. So I chose the most suitable image out of the images generated and manipulated the rest in Adobe Photoshop with generative fill and manual digital imaging. Okay, so for every concept, I actually generated 2 visuals. The first visual would have the character, or rather the actor implied. Not the actor himself, but strongly implied, and he would be instantly recognizable. The second visual would be product focus. So in the case that we couldn't use the first visual, we could always use the second visual. Okay, for the second visual, which is product focus, I still wanted to tie in with air travel. So if you remember, at the end of season 1, player 456 Song Ki-hyun had a very iconic scene where he spotted bright red hair and he was walking on the Arrow Bridge. Now for the second character, I actually conceptualized the recruiter played by Gong Yoo in the series as the digital nomad. Now I didn't want to cast him as the recruiter because although it seems like an obvious choice, because I felt that the moment I did that, then I would restrict the kind of people who could respond to this category to those that are working in human resource only, and I did not want that. So in Squid Game, the mysterious recruiter, played by Gong Yu, appears without warning, challenging unsuspecting commuters to a game of Denki in subway stations. No one knows where or when he will show up, embodying the essence of constant movement and unpredictability. Now, as for product pairing, you know that for digital nomads, right, their wardrobe will be in their luggage and then their laptop will be in their backpack. So I paired these two products together. And actually, American Tourister, right, has two kinds of designs for both the backpacks and the luggages. I chose the one, right, with the three symbols because if you recall, the recruiter actually passed a name card with these three symbols, right, to commuters in the series. And I wanted to be consistent in that. So every choice was deliberate and every choice was detailed. And then if you look closely, there was actually an Easter egg in this visual. The subway station of this visual is actually set to Hongyi Station. This is the exact train station in Seoul where commuters will take a train to Seoul Station where they will then transfer to the high-speed train to the airport. And I felt that this really embodies the constant movement of a digital nomad. So for the second visual where it was more product-centric, I chose a luggage and I placed the game of Denki on the ground so that it was unmistakable who we were referring to. The client loved this concept, but they asked us if we could propose a category that is more within the corporate settings, and I came out with the category of the icebreaker because if you think about it, the recruiter often has to approach strangers for the first time and then convince them to take part in the game with him. So for the third category of office workers, I wanted to feature a product and a design that I hadn't featured yet. And if you look at this crossbody bag, you can literally see Yang He on it. So what kind of category of office workers can we conceptualize for this crossbody bag? Now if you think about it, right, this office worker must be a kind of category of people that you can find in almost every organization. And when I thought about it, right, I felt that no movement or rather no error goes unnoticed by Yang He in the series. The moment somebody makes a mistake, right, they literally paid for it with their lives. So I gave the client two choices. The first being the meticulous and the second being the perfectionist. Okay, so for the fourth category of office worker, I wanted to feature the tote bag because it was my own criteria that I set for myself that every category of product would be featured. And if you think about the tote bag, it looks like this everyday casual item, but actually it can hold your laptop. It has a capacity to hold all your other belongings. It is more than it seems. So for the tote bag, I came up with the category of the newbie, inspired by the new character in season 2, Choi Hyung-joo. At that point, I had no idea that she would become like one of the main character energy. So for this product, right, I conceptualized the newbie inspired by player 120 Choi Hyung-jun because at that point, she was a new character introduced to the series. Although she appears mild and unassuming at first, her defining moment, right, came when she stepped out to take charge, fetching the guns after Kang Tae-ho, player 388, played by Kang Ha-ru, chickened out. I drew a parallel between this moment, right, and the quiet strength of someone new in the workplace. Often underestimated, they may appear casual or harmless, but when the stakes are high, they can rise to the challenge. So the other category that I conceptualized for this product would be the mastermind, inspired by player 001, the elusive frontman. Now at first glance, right, he appears to be just another player in the game, but beneath the surface, right, he is actually the one who pulls the string behind the scenes. Now this duality, right, is echoed in the tote bag, often perceived as an everyday casual item. It is easy to underestimate, however it holds more than it lets on. Okay, so for the fifth concept, I wanted to bring around a character, right, that would be instantly recognizable, and to me that would be Thanos from season 2 of Squid Game because he sports a head of bright purple hair. And also I felt that, you know, social media is an open space. I wanted to conceptualize a category that would have a more positive connotation to it, and instead of fierce competitor, I conceptualized the go-getter. And if you look at this backpack, right, it literally has the word ready, set, go. And in merry-go-round, Thanos actually said, let's go. Okay, so for visual 2, that will be more product-centric, right? I make sure that the purple hair is still visible and there will be bottles of nail polish, right, in the order that Thanos wore them. Okay, so after we finalize the categories and the visuals, the client then tasked us to design a cover image for the personality test. Since the campaign will be launched on the Taiwan socials of America Teresa, I was thinking what kind of site will be common in Taiwan as well as Korea, where Squid Game originated from, because I wanted to pay homage to its origins. And I felt that the convenience stores are a very common sight between these two places. They are literally everywhere. Next, I wanted to think about a visual metaphor that allow people to choose what they want. And I felt that the vending machine would be a very apt choice, and it's also not uncommon to find vending machines right at convenience stores. Thirdly, the client also wanted to place a line of merchandise that they will be giving out with this campaign, and I felt that it is not uncommon to find luggages beside vending machines, because that is where usually tourists or locals will stop by to grab something quick before they head to the airport. I designed the visual in Chinese first, and actually there are Easter eggs in the Chinese version. If you look at it right, it's like instead of 加入游戏, I play a pun on it and it becomes 加入游戏. You as in Squid Games 鱿鱼, and then the store name is actually 游戏人生便利店. And for the English adaptation right of the visual, I felt that having the name in Korean, I understand a little bit of Korean, will have more feeling to the scene. Okay, so I hope that everyone enjoyed this little sharing where I shared all the considerations I had when it was in the conceptualizing stage, and how I used AI to achieve the ideas I had. With the rise of AI, right, a common question that people will ask is, will designers still have a place in the future? Would we be replaced by AI? So I hope that through this little series, right, you can tell that in the end, I was the one who conceptualized for this campaign. AI is simply just a tool for me to get to the visuals maybe faster, quicker, and with a lesser budget. Ultimately, right, I was the one who could see or tell what details to include in the visuals. For example, player 120 Choi Hyung-joo in the series actually had black nails, and Thanos actually wore nail polish. All these kind of details, right, AI wouldn't have known. I need to be the one who tell it what to do and what to generate. I hope that you all enjoyed this video, and feel free to connect or follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I just started these two accounts to share how we all deserve better and more thoughtful designs. See you, bye!